Welcome to the Hastings City Council recap. In this video, items of importance from the January 3rd regular council meeting will be reviewed by HCTV to the viewers. The council voted to approve the city's new vaccination, testing, and face covering policy for the city and its employees. As per current federal law, cities across the U.S. must adopt either the federal or state Occupational Safety and Health Administration COVID-19 ETS by January 10th or face citations. As the city of Hastings has over 100 employees working for it, employees must either be fully vaccinated or be tested weekly with a mask requirement per federal OSHA laws. Those who choose not to get vaccinated will not be mandated by the city to become vaccinated, but can still be offered through incentives to receive the vaccine. City Administrator Dan WIETECHA mentioned that weekly testing will cost the city anywhere between $75 to $200 a week. WIETECHA says the city would use ARPA funding to cover testing. WIETECHA has said that the city has not tried to be heavy-handed in tracking down how many city employees are or are not vaccinated.
One thing I really want to emphasize has been foremost in our conversations the last couple of weeks at our management team meetings has been wanting to make sure that we provide a safe work environment, wanting to make sure that we're compliant with the law, but also not wanting to be heavy-handed with our employees. I've seen in the news, as an example, some employers have put in place vaccine requirements and then had employees quit or even disciplined or fired employees that didn't follow up with it. And that's definitely not the approach we want to be taking with this. So a few of the pieces to reduce that burden that we've got worked in here. One is quite simply the option that if an employee chooses not to vaccinate or chooses not to tell us that they're vaccinated even, we can still work with that. They would have to have a weekly COVID test.
The city will only begin to consolidate data on vaccination status for city employees if it is mandated by law through OSHA. WIETECHA estimates that anywhere between 20 to 25% of city employees remain unvaccinated. Council members Tina FOLCH and Lori BRAUCKS commented on the OSHA mandates, with BRAUCKS adding note to feedback she had heard from her own constituents.
And I have had a couple constituents reach out to me with concerns about having this type of policy in place at all. Concerns like providing personal medical information, collecting personal health information, a variety of different concerns. So I just want to acknowledge that there have been people who are concerned about this policy, and I think we may be a bit premature, but I recognize that because of the OSHA deadlines and because that is the current law, we need to do something.
And we don't really have an option if the courts are going to uphold this. We have to do this because we as a city receive federal funds through various state agencies such as MnDOT. Money passes through to the city, and so that's why we're being required to do this. I mean, just for a point of clarification for everybody. And so unless we want to turn away any federal funds that might come through to the city, that's really our only option. Otherwise, we're legally required to comply with that. It's either pass a policy and use the funds, or don't pass a policy and then don't accept those funds that have federal funds behind it. And so that's my understanding of why it is we're being required to do this. And so if that's the case, if we're moving forward, I just think it would be beneficial to continue to also give incentives to staff to get the booster shots after 6 months so that they have a higher effectiveness rate in maintaining health.
The city has implemented a community investment fund with $100,000 in the budget for 2022. The pilot program will emphasize community partnerships and community-driven projects that lack funding for 2022. The opening date for project proposals to be made to the City Council is March 31st, and all projects will be considered on an open timeline as long as money remains available throughout 2022. The city adopted a resolution for the Community Development Block Grant Budget for 2022, which are finances that come from the federal government to the county for community housing, as Community Development Director John HINZMAN explains.
This is Community Development Block Grant funding that originally comes from the Housing and Urban Development Agency at the federal government and then is allocated directly to Dakota County. Dakota County has made it a policy to allocate directly some of those funds to the various cities, including Hastings. So our total would be $73,612. This is consistent with what we have seen in past years. Also consistent as in past years is what we plan to do with the money, and that is to allocate it towards our assessment abatement program.
One public comment was made by JOLENE on sidewalk safety during the wintertime and how she wants the city to do more than they are currently doing.
In my opinion, I feel like there needs to be some discussion to maybe make some improvements on that, to have it be a more positive impact. I feel like as residents of Hastings, we should be able to trust the city officials and the city workers that our sidewalks that we do have in town can be utilized all year long safely.
A reminder that City Code requires residents to clear sidewalks on their property within 48 hours after the end of a snowfall for general public safety. The next General Council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 18th, due to Martin Luther King Day on Monday, January 17th. Thanks for watching.